here? Okay, so I finally got brave enough to put Flosstube in the title of this, mostly because pretty much everything I have to share is Stitchy related, and I've decided to somewhat suck it up and be an adult and play in the bigger fish pond. I know the first official Flosstube is usually supposed to be like an intro and that, but I've noticed that most of those are because they're a brand new channel. And I'm not switching channels, and I'm not going to start a new, I don't know why I would. Mouse Potato Designs has been mine since 1994. I went official as a business title in 96, and I just have no intentions of changing it. It still encompasses everything that I do crafty, and this is who I am, is Mouse Potato Design. So I won't be starting a stitching channel. I won't be stopping on paper crafting and that kind of stuff either. I'm just going to divide the videos up so that if you don't like the stitching stuff, you don't have to watch these. And if you're a cross stitcher and you don't like the paper stuff, you don't have to watch those. I just figured that would be easier than the weekly recaps that I was doing, that kind of encompassed everything, and that way you were kind of stuck watching stuff you didn't want to watch because it was all mushed together. So basically I'll have Flosstube in the title if it's about any of my stitchy stuff, and I won't if it's about anything else. The Handmade 52 Tags project, that one kind of spans, and it will have its own videos because it's a separate thing completely. But anyways, I would say I hope that's okay, but honestly, you're going to stay if you want to stay, and you're going to leave if you want to leave. I've never been a subscriber gatherer, and so I just do this to have fun and enjoy your company, and I hope that you stick around and you still enjoy my company, even if the subject's starting to change with my new lifestyle. I have been in paper crafting since, like I said, 1994. Mouse Potato Designs became official in 1996, and through web design and paper products and all kinds of stuff, and I hope to continue, and I hope you'll continue to develop with me as I grow and expand and see where life takes me. All right, you're probably wondering why there is a big bag of lizard bedding sitting in the middle of the camera, because I got sucked in. Okay, I have her thing. Mama Loves You GB Michelle on YouTube. I'm obsessed with. Sorry, stalker. She's not going to watch this. She's huge. She was showing how she fills her pillows. Some of them she uses a mix of fiber and walnut shells, and some of them she just uses walnut shells. She also uses walnut shells to dye. I don't know if these will work, but when I did some research on it, I found that people were using the lizard bedding, reptile bedding, not just lizards, I guess, to use as the stuffing. So I got sucked in. This was like $3 on Amazon. It was supposed to be this little tiny bag. What am I going to do with this? That's a lot of pillows. Anyways, I don't know if I got the right stuff or not, because this is really fine, but I figured I could just make a muslin lining, put this in it, and then put my cross stitch pillows over it. So that way it's more contained. So, yeah, that is what this is. My cats have tried to dig into it for 3 days since it showed up, because one of them likes to eat plastic, and she's evil. So if this is the right stuff, let me know. If it's not the right stuff, let me know. And if I can dye with it too, let me know. I'd be interested in that, because the walnut crystals that I got, first of all, they're super expensive, and they're really dark, so I don't know if it's the same stuff or not. But anyways, that is why oh my gosh. I gotta get to making pillows, apparently. I don't know where I'm gonna put pillows. Everybody makes these cute little pillows, and I'm looking around my house going, no, there's no space for pillows. But I'm gonna do it anyway. All right. get the mambo jumbo out of the way. Let's see. I'm trying to decide how to handle this. I think I'll start out with my slow stitching because there's only the 52 tags handmade to do on that. And she just posted the prompt, all of the information I'll put in the eye up here and down below. She just posted the prompt for tag week 11, which is going to be rings. I don't know if there was another... I think it was just titled rings, but she did the back stitch on it, and I've never even done a back stitch on a flat piece of fabric, so this will be a challenge because she did it around rings, and yeah, nothing like jumping into the deep end. But so I dug through my stash. She used these little rubber gasket things that she had, but I just dug through my stash. I'm gonna see if my husband has any of those rubber gasket things. He should, because he works in parts, so there should be something floating around. But I thought, if nothing else, use my stash, and so I come up with a bunch of round goodies. I'll put a better picture of everything spread out right here. I can't even see my monitor. I have so much stuff right here that hopefully it's recording. That would be sad, wouldn't it? Okay, anyways, rings and lace, I think. Lace was the other thing. So I have just some random pieces. I want to keep it really neutrals. So I grabbed some fabric that I had. This is just some random pieces of miscellaneous stuff that I have. I like these two laces. I'm not sure which one. Probably this one because it's got all the rings already on it. Because she did say you could use rings in fabric or wire just wrapped around to make a ring. So... yeah, and then I thought it'd be fun to use some different textures, so I have the... oh, is it going to be a sew day? Don't get straight out of bed and right into videoing. It's okay. Floss and twine and this embroidery. This is crochet yarn. So that is what I plan to use. I don't really have a plan, but that's the supplies I plan to use for it. So that's my 52 tags handmade something 52 tags handmade challenge for week 11. And on that note, I have a share. So a lot of the chatter in the slow stitch with these tags is, how do we hook these suckers together? Because if you're going to do 52 tags, it's going to get bigger and bigger. And I had come up with these. They're basically keychains, but you can cable them together. You can either have them little, or you can cable them together and make a great big ring. But that's still, I did that, and that still wasn't working for me. So I decided that I was going to break them down into months. The months that they, January, February, that kind of stuff. And because I bought a new sewing machine, when did I buy a new sewing machine? February? That had a monogram setting. Although I have to admit, I wish I had had the money to spend on like the $500 one with all of the bells and whistles. But if I use the dickens out of this new one, hubby said that I could justify buying the bigger one. So... I need projects. Anyways, I decided to just put a month on a ring, and I monogrammed January 2021 onto some of that binding, that huge binding roll that I have. Oh my gosh. I will have that forever. And make little tags for each ring. And that way I can just hang them wherever there's a month. I can still read all of the journaling that's on the back, but then I know that I thought about putting 52 tags handmade, but it doesn't let me change the font size or anything that I can figure out. If you know how to do that, I have the Brother XP something or other. So it wouldn't fit. I mean, my tags were going to be like this long, but it is written on the tags, so I don't think I need it more than that. And down the road, it won't really matter, I guess. So, but that's what I did. So I did a January and a February and a March. And then this is my February one. And I have February's tags, and I'm just putting them on the rings with whatever month I finished them in. So it doesn't really matter if they were officially whatever weeks. So, and then this is the last one that I did so far, and I have a March tag on it. And then I'll just keep making them as the months go by, and then I can just, you know, they're individual that way, and a lot easier to manhandle, if you will. I have so much to do this weekend. It's crazy. I got to tear my garden apart. If you're new here, I'm a big gardener, inside and out. I grow food inside out now. And March is in Montana. I'm in Montana, and March is, let's see, it's like 60 something outside right now. It's not supposed to be that. We're supposed to be in like 3 feet of snow. That's normal March. So I gotta get rototilling done, and I gotta get, it's just so much to do, but they're stitching, and I also want to do that. So I'm really mad at Mother Nature for not snowing this winter when I have things to stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna do I have a couple of whips, works in progresses that I'm working on. This one is not going as fast as I thought it would. This is the stitch wheel, hashtag stitch wheel, hashtag stitch wheel sampler. Again, all the information will be up above and down below. And I'm avoiding that stitch. Can you tell? It's a drizzle stitch, and there's 2 needles involved, and I'm just avoiding it. But anyways, I was hoping to do 2 stitches a day, and that's not happening because life is just busy. I also manage several Facebook pages and Facebook groups, and then there's just life, and life is busy in a total good way. I have no complaints, but this is as far as I've gotten so far. And I will say the one thing I don't like about this sampler is that I don't remember what any of these stitches were called. And so what I'm going to have to do is go back and make a chart to go with this so that I know what the stitches were. And so my stupid for picking something that doesn't have the names on it. So that means I'm still on the hump for a sampler that I can use as a reference. I may just have to break down, save some money up, and buy one of those pre-printed ones. And that'll scratch that itch, I guess. But the information will be down below on this, and I really like how it's turning out. And I have been using the DMC variegated flosses for it. I had some in my stash, and I ordered some because they're fun and I like them. There's a tropical version I'm waiting to get because it's pretty. So that's the flosses that I've been doing, and yeah, I've been having it's a lot of fun. It just, you have to focus because you're learning. And I think if you're brand spanking new to embroidery, this is actually not a great start, because there's really not a lot of repetitive, and you're putting the stitch automatically into a shape with this instead of just stitching the basic stitch. And so yeah, it is beginner friendly, I guess, but it's not if you're trying to learn. So, but I'm enjoying it, and I think it's turning out really cute. My cats are running around doing the risky business. Do you hear cats? If you have cats, do that. I have hard floors and rugs, and they run around the house and hit every single rug and slide it as far as it'll go, so that I'll come around and straighten all the rugs up, and then they follow me around. You get it, yeah. All right, the other one I am trying to push out quickly, because I learned a valuable lesson with this stitch. I learned that I way underestimate my ability to learn a new skill. And I thought it would be months before I learned how to count cross stitch. And I thought it would be months before I would move up to what I consider harder things. And that I would need these pre-printed patterns to learn all the rules and the stitching and stuff. Mistake. That was a big mistake. I love the picture of this. I have not enjoyed stitching this. I'm going to finish it because I'm stubborn like that. But the material is terrible. It's not straight. And I've learned that with my embroidery, I don't care if it's wiggly wobbly and all over the place, but with cross stitch, I want it to be perfectly straight, perfectly in line, perfect. And this, you can't. It's some kind of linen material and the weave is awful in it. So my crosses, one will be perfect. The next one next to it will look like this. The next one next to it will look like this because the linen just wiggles everywhere. And the print of it is great big. So I feel like I'm the little kid learning to write on one of those, you know, when you're little and they pre-print the letters and you're just tracing them. And yeah, so it's really, really monotonous right now. I'm almost done with it though. So this is the country stitching pattern number 367. It's called Garden. And like I said, I love the picture, but if I'm half tempted to do this again and do it on regular Aida or something else counted and just use this as a pattern because I'm not happy with how it's turning out. But this is what I've got so far. I think the last time I showed this, I only had the green done in the vine and the house. And I've completed the entire top. There was supposed to be 2 butterflies there, or 2 birds there, and I don't like the birds. So I'm hoping they'll wash completely out, and I'm going to come back and add, there's 2 butterflies down here. I'm going to add some more butterflies up above. I changed a lot of the colors, as you can tell. I've changed a lot of the colors. And I also learned through this that even though I like the more muted colors, they're not my favorite to stitch with. I really like the brighter colors. But this is supposed to represent my house. I don't have a house that looks anything like this, but I found a color that matched it. I always dreamed of having a red door on it, so I put a red door. I changed these to sunflowers because we have lots of sunflowers. We do have an arbor in our garden that we grow over, and you walk through it in a tunnel and pick your squash and stuff. And then this was supposed to be in blues and greens, but I wanted it when we walk out our front door, we walk out to our gardens. And so I changed the colors to look more like our garden out the front door. So all I have left is the outer border of this, thank goodness. I also learned that I will never do a full coverage piece because this is mind-numbingly boring. You'd think it's easy because you just stitch, and it's, you know, but I think a lot of it has to do because it's printed, and I'm not enjoying the print. So I'm hoping by the end of this week to have this done so I can get my hoop back, because as you'll see in a little bit, I have other things to stitch. But I'm going to finish this because it was my first one and I have to finish it. But then I'm hoping I'd like to do a small one to put with it to show how I've improved. But anyway, so that's how far I've gotten on that. And that is pretty much my works in progress. Right now I only have a couple things going because I'm brand spanking new and I don't have a lot of projects because I'm brand spanking new. And I watch these floss tubers and they have, 75 whips going and works in progress is going. I'm like, why? Well, over this past week, I have found out why. And you will see that I may not have a lot of whips today, but I am working towards becoming a professional whip person because I went shopping. Yes, right. It happened. All right. I found a whole bunch of free printable free patterns online. These are actual free patterns. They are not Pinterest ripoffs. I will provide all the links in the bottom drop down so that you can find them too, or check to see if I stole them. But they are all from reputable websites as far as I can tell. They are not just copied and pasted off of Pinterest. And I've also seen most of these on the designers' Facebook pages and stuff, so I'm assuming that also means that they're not ripped off. But I have learned that I like to look at people doing the samplers, but although I did find a sampler this morning, it was a year sampler, and each month was representative in a square, but it had the ABCs and it was a primitive one. I can't think of the name of it now. But anyways, so I'll show that if I pick that up. So I may be doing a sampler, but I probably won't. I don't know. I won't say I won't get into samplers, but right now I'm just doing stuff that appeals to my fun and bright and cherry side, and samplers don't do that to me. So I showed last week this, yes, I'm doing the ghetto plastic bag thing. I need to learn how to make bags, and it's on my list, so to-do list. But this was the pattern that I found last week, and it's a garden stitch along. It's a last year, I think, stitch along, so it's no longer being, what's the date on it? Yeah, 2020. But I showed this in my last weekly wrap up, and it's got, you can do it as individual pieces or as one great big thing. I'm going to do it as one great big thing. But I went and got the flosses. What I want to show is I went and got the flosses for it. So I just have to pick material, which I also picked up this week, and I can get started stitching on this. And so far that's the colors that, I'm going to do probably pretty close to what the colors are on this because I like the bright and cheeriness of it. If I can't find a color or something, I'm just going to try to use what I have and it'll be close. So that's one of the ones I'm going to start. And then gathered.com had on a Doreen Jones, I think both of these are Doreen I think it's Doreen Jones. A lot of her patterns are freebies, and I saw this picture, and I was like, oh, I have to. Well, when I went and looked up the stitch or the charts, there's 4 charts that come with it, and I'm just enamored with these four cat charts, and so I'm probably gonna stitch them all. But there's the cats in the cup, the cats with the yarn balls, and then a cat with a balloon, but he or she has a little mouse with it, and so I definitely have to do that. And what I'm thinking is I'm just gonna leave the balloon out and put a word there because I don't really want to do I think these were made to go on cards. And then I love my cat, and the only one I'm probably gonna change up is this one and not have this color when it's done. But I did get the floss. My son and I went yesterday. I have a 20-year-old, and my son and I went yesterday to Joann's and got floss. And they don't have bags anymore because apparently, COVID. And so he's like carrying all of these flosses as we're going through all the numbers. I got smart at least, and I took the charts with me so I wouldn't miss any instead of trying to guess what I needed. Yeah. And then another one that I found is from the Tiny Modernist. It's called Sewing Room, and it's got the tomato pin cushion, some threads. Most of these are really small. This one is like 3x4, so are those. They're little tiny quick stitches, and I need that right now because I need that instant gratification. And so I hope to build up to bigger projects. But right now I need some wham bam, thank you ma'am projects. So again, this is another free pattern. I will link everything down below, or if you have questions or anything, let me know. But I just thought it was really cute, and this is going to be for decorating my craft room. I really like the one that Fat Quarter Shop has, the sew along that they're doing with the threads, needles, sewing machine. I think it's a Lori Holt, but don't quote me. But they also have a crafting one. And so I want to do that because I do crafting and paper products and journaling and stuff. So that would be fun. And then the colors on this one are really, really bright, and they're fun, really fun. I like that. And then the last one is a set of 3 charts. Can you tell I'm going to be don't bother me. I'm going to be stitching for days. My plan is to schedule one per day. So like Monday I would work on one, Tuesday I'd work on one, Wednesday I work on one, and so forth, so that I can get progress on all of them. And yeah. Plus I still have my kitchen one to do. I have to get this garden one done. Do you ever have a project you just have to finish? You can't function until you finish it. That's how that garden one is. Okay, so this one is probably color-wise one of my favorites. It's got aquas and yellows and peaches and pinks in it. And I just, they're so pretty. This is actually 3 different ones, but they all had similar colors. And so, and I can hear Brenda and the Serial Stitcher saying, don't fold your charts. These are printed ones. I feel like it's okay. I wouldn't fold a store-bought one though, so it's okay. But these I printed, and it's all right. But the first one that I have, it looks like this when it's complete. Take 1 stitch at a time, and I just thought, oh, it's adorable. There's a little sewing machine charm that goes right there, so I'm gonna have to find something to go there. I may just use a charm I have in my stash, but I do like that little vintage sewing machine. That is really cute. But so I have that one. And all of these are going to be done in the same colors, even if they don't call for the same colors, but they pretty much do. Again, they're Doreen Jones. Can you tell I like her style? It's fun. It's just fun. The next one that I have is this one, which is by, I can't read it, Catherine. Oh no, that's what a reader says. This is from crossstitching.com. Does it not say who it's by? Oh, Debbie Harding? Debbie Harding. Okay. And it looks like, oh, well, duh, there's the information right there. Sorry. No, designed by Susan Bates. And it was originally, these are stitched by, I don't know why it says stitched by Debbie Harding on there. But anyways, so this is a set of, I was looking for scissor fob things, and this is what came up. But they're really cute because you could turn these into cards, and I just might do that, depending on how fast these stitch up. I think that would be a great, see, my paper crafting bleeds into my cross stitching. And these might be fun as, if I do them on a smaller count, as like scissor fobs or something like that. But how fun would it be to do a journal with all of these little stitchy things in it? But so that one is, I'm going to do them in the same colors as the take life 1 stitch at a time one. And then the last one that I found, I'm going to try to finish it just like the picture too. This one is also by Susan Bates. I think it's on the same website. Again, links will be down below. You just click the little description box thing, and yeah. But this takes this vintage sewing machine, and it turns it into a pocket that you can put little things in, and then you leave it on the hoop and you hang it and display it. So I want to do that and display it. So we'll see how that turns out. But I'm going to do because these are all relatively similar in style, I'm going to do them all in the same colors, pretty much. And so that's what I have there. And I'd like to say that's all the whips that I'm going to be getting started, fresh starts, but they're not fresh starts yet. They're not whips either. Plans, stitchy plans, but it's not. There's more. Okay. So, no, I'm not going to show that yet. Hold that thought. Put that back. Okay. I need your opinion. Last week I showed this free chart by Whilst Iris Naps Designs, and I will again link it down below. There's quite a few floss tubers that I've seen show this, so this is not a new one to the floss tube community, I'm sure. I am just going to do the bunny butts. That's not what she calls them. She calls them rabbits, but I call them bunny butts because we have wild rabbits and they look like this without the heart-shaped butt tail thing, but they're little bunny butts, right? So I finally got the floss and stuff that I needed for them. But here's my question for you. Which fabric should I stitch these on? These are the colors, and I posted this on my social media. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. All that information's down below. If you cross stitch or do anything, I'd love to follow you on Instagram and Facebook. It's a lot of fun for me to share on there. this is usually like a one wrap up, but you see a lot of progress pictures on my other social media. Anyways, I digress. I had originally bought this blue. I got this from 123 Stitch. I originally bought this Zephyr Ada fabric. I don't remember what the color was because on here they just have a number. It's PTP383W, but on the website it had a name. But it's just beautiful and it's so soft. I originally bought that for it, but I also bought this confetti Ada fabric. It's a 14 count. These are both all this I think is 14 count. Because I thought it would make it lend more spring Eastery. My guys voted on the confetti, and I do have polls going on Facebook and Instagram on this, but if you guys would leave me your opinion, I would really like to hear. I know that it would look great on the blue, but I also think it'd be really fun to stitch it on the confetti, and I do think the colors go really well with both of them. So let me know what you think. And I thought I would do, like, for the little heart-shaped bunny butts tails, that I might find some way. I saw on somebody's Flosstube where they had sewed the strands somehow and then snipped them so they were kind of puffy. And so I'm going to try to figure out that and maybe make puffy rabbit tails. I'd also like to incorporate the word spring or bunny butts or something like that to go with it so it's a little bit bigger when it's done. I'm not doing the carrots. The carrots are really cute, but I'm not doing them. I'm just doing the bunnies. So which one do you think? Confetti or blue? Which one do you think would be more fun? So it's going to be a lot of sews. But see, now you don't know if it's S-O or S-E-W. All right. The other thing, I think that's my, oh, nope, I have one more. Last week was my birthday. I turned 49 on Tuesday, and I'm totally okay with it because I am currently living my best life, and no age that I would go back to has been as wonderful as my late 40s. And I'm ready to embrace 50. Age doesn't bother me at all. And so, yeah. But my guys my guys are so supportive. My husband of 25 years, we will be 25 years on the 24th of this month. And then my son, they're very supportive of any adventure I drag us through. But anyways, for my birthday, they got me one of these Dimensions Crustace Kits because this is pretty much exactly what my Sophie looks like, but she has blue eyes. And so they got this one, but then they went back and got a second one because they felt that if I could do this one as Sophie, I needed to change this one and make it like Benny. Because Benny can't be left out. And so I'm going to stitch these, and what I want to do is figure out if they'll fit in one ring, and then I'm going to put their names above it and the dates we got them, and eventually I'll leave a little bit of space so that I can put when they go. But for now, I'm going to change this one to be a dark chocolate Siamese looking one, and this will stay pretty much like it is. I'm going to add a little lighter tan into it because she's just a little bit lighter, and change both of them to blue eyes. But it wasn't that sweet. So that is another soon to be work in progress that I have to figure out and get going. And so that was all of my works in progress. Well, what do they call them? Fresh starts? New starts? Since I'm brand new, they're all fresh, brand new starts. But next week, I hopefully will have actual real works in progress besides the ones that I've got going. And I hope to have that garden one as a finish. Wish me luck, y'all. All right, let's do some hauls. Haul stuff? Hauls. I do have, well, okay, that's not true. Let's do a few more pattern shares. These I do not have started, but I printed it out because I really, really want to stitch them eventually. And I do have a folder that I have of all these little tiny stitches that I want to do, so that when I have a break or I finish a small one, I'm just going to rotate them in. But I found this little teacup one, and it's a teacup pin cushion. So I thought over the summer, while I'm out gallivanting around looking for finishing supplies, I'd try to find a teacup or something to put that little needlework in. So I thought that was really cute. Yeah. And then this one, I don't have the rest of the pattern, so there's no point in showing you that. I found this, and I don't remember, I'll link all this stuff down below, but I'm actually not going to stitch this because I actually found a pattern that I'm going to stitch, but I want to find a band stitch sampler that's done on those narrow things that I can put on a big spool. And I found this, it was a freebie. The link will be down below. And I had my notes and I can't find my notes. And so I will just have to link these down below. So I'm just going to touch on them quickly. But I did find these as a freebie. It'll be down below. I found an alphabet that I wanted to stitch. Again, it'll be linked down below. And I'm just running through these because I'm obviously not stitching them right away. And I did find this pattern chart. And I thought it would be really pretty to do it in all purples on a gray background. I just thought that would be really pretty. So we'll see. I'll have more information when I go to actually stitch those. If you know of a nice band sampler system, I would love to do that. I found one, but it's like $80 just to get the pattern and stuff. And I was like, ouch, I'm not quite there yet. While I was at Joann's, I picked up this magazine because I was standing in line forever and it was sitting there, and yeah, as we do. But I don't want to show you everything in here, but I'll show you why. All I did is flip this open and it flipped straight to this. Yeah, that's gonna happen in my life. I'm going to trade the yellows out for grays because I'm not a yellow. I don't like the yellow in this pattern. So I'm going to change that out to a different color, but everything else I just love, love, love. Purple's my favorite. Purple and gray are my favorite colors, but I saw this and I had to have it. And then when I got home, the second pattern that I flipped to first was this one. Oh my gosh, that's pretty. And so, yeah, those two are going to have to happen. And I want to finish it like this to sit on my table. Or I might finish it a little bit bigger and use it as a sewing machine cover. But, so those are the two. There was a whole bunch of them in here. And if you're into Easter and that kind of stuff, there's, I don't know if they have just there's an Anne Weatherall sampler in here. St. Patrick's Day stuff, Easter, that kind of stuff. There's a baby sampler in here. But yeah, so I thought that would be fun, and now I need to collect magazines. No, I'm not going to, but I really liked this one. And so yeah, and I guess this must be next week or something, or just, I don't know. There's a couple stitch alongs, things like that in it. But that's what I bought. That's going in the next time I need a big project pile, that's going in that. All right, I bought some sticky board because everybody seems to be using sticky board for their projects, and I plan to use it with these. I'm going to cut them apart to put them in my shadow box, and then I bought some rickrack because I want to edge each of them in a rickrack, and I just thought that would be fun. And mostly this is to share that I got the rickrack and the sticky board. If anybody has tips or somebody to watch about how to attach it to sticky board and stuff, I am all ears. All right. Along with the walnut shells, I got some wool because Lori Holt, a moment for Lori Holt. Is she not awesome? I just want to live in her sewing room. But she uses wool fill. Sorry about the crinkling. So I ordered some of that to maybe stuff some pillows with too. I don't know anything about it. She said to buy it. I did it. That's how I roll. So I bought some of that to use in it. One of the other fabrics that I ordered from 123 Stitch with the blue and the confetti was this gray, and this is probably not going to show up, but it is 14 count Helix Ada fabric PTP 257W. And you can't tell, I'm sure, on here because of my lights, but it's all splotchy and stuff. And I really, really like that. I have a big order of just these small pieces coming so that I can see what the different colors and stuff are. If you have a favorite place to order fabrics from, and please remember, I'm just brand new. So a $40 piece of material is not in my learning budget. I don't need it to be cheap crap either. I understand that if I'm going to do beautiful big pieces, I probably should invest in the fabric, but I'm doing free patterns that I can whip out and get hanging on my wall. So I'm looking for that kind of material. I will move up into better stuff, I promise. But if you have a favorite fabric shop that you like to use, could you please let it down below? And I'm looking for also places that sell like sample packs, like you could buy 5 of these this size in different color waves or whatever. I'd love that. It'd save me a lot of time instead of just ordering one of everything. I was playing with dye this week, and I dyed my own, this is just a flour sack towel from Sam's Club, and I won't be cross-stitching on this because, again, it's real loose weave and stuff like that, but it's going to be great for some of the embroidery projects that I have coming up. I'm doing a heart with anniversary stuff for my husband and I want to do on this, but I think it turned out not too bad. Again, the camera's not going to show it, but there's light and dark spots, and I was real scared to use the dye straight onto it. I won't be next time. I'm going to dump that stuff on there because I would have liked it to be even more mottled than it turned out, but I think it turned out really pretty, and I look forward to using it in projects for my embroidery, and it will work really, really good for that. But I really like how it turned out. I think it's a pretty gray, and yeah, that's something I made. I picked up this, well, my husband made me do it because I said, isn't that pretty? And he goes, you need that. And I said, no, I don't need it. And he goes, yeah, you do. And so we bought it because everybody thinks I'm the one that's the enabler, and he's the one. But I got it at Michael's, used a coupon. And it's just some pinks and greens, but it just was really pretty. And I'm going to just set it on my thing to look at. It's so pretty, right? Because we're dorks and we do that. Speaking of pretty, again, did I mention it was my birthday this last week? And if you're new here, you have to go back because I have a pretty scissor addiction. I'm obsessed, and I plan on having 1,000 different pairs. No, there's not 1,000 out there that I know of. But right now I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I have 10 or 11 pretty scissors for doing my stitching with because I love them. They decorate my wall when they're hanging, and they make me feel good when I use them, and we all need pretty scissors. You need pretty scissors, I'm telling you. Buy pretty scissors. So I bought myself for my birthday some pretty scissors, and I got a pink and green pair, pink to teal, and a blue to teal-y green pair. I love these little tiny ones, but this is the one. Oh, I've had this in my cart forever because they were expensive. Not super expensive, but these run like $8, $9. This is like 20 some odd bucks. But I had to have it. It's one of those things that talks to you in your sleep. You gotta buy me. Buy me. So I did. It is a set, and I need to find like a little, there's my paper crafting coming into it. But I'm going to do a little box that I decorate that these will sit in some kind of velvet type material because they're just, they make me feel so ritzy when I'm not. But this is the scissors, and they come on this chain. And they have this case. And this is the pair of scissors. And I don't even know if they're good scissors or not. I don't care. They look like it though. I mean, uber tiny and sharp. But look at this. Look at this. And it's heavy and it's beautiful. And my husband and I have a hot rod, a show car. And this year we're hoping to get back into going to rod runs and stuff like that. And now I have a craft I can take with me. So of course I needed something to take with me, right? And that was my justification for buying this. And so there's my scissors in their little protective case. It comes with a thimble, which I don't use for cross stitching, but it came with it, so I'll take it. It comes with, I wasn't sure what this was and I had to look it up, and there's a fancy word for it, but basically it threads larger things like ribbons and needles. But they're just so pretty. It comes with an awl, and I use my pokey tools, as I call them, awls, all the time. And so I'm very excited over this, and I will be using it in my paper projects actually. And then what I plan to take with my scissors is this needle keeper. I mean, they're just gorgeous, you guys, and I got completely sucked in. And it's just beautiful. I feel so fancy with them, which is just silly. But they'll be what I take when we travel, so that I have my scissors, and my thread ears fit in here too, which is really nice. But I'm gonna make a little kit to take and do something a little fancier than the plastic kit that came with it. So that's my new acquisitions of pretty scissors. And I'm telling you, everybody needs a pair of pretty scissors. You need a pair of pretty scissors. Then I was at Target, and I found these baskets that fit into my craft table drawer. So I picked these up. They were like $2 a piece. But I'm going to, for now, store my sorted DMC floss that I'm not using in a project in them, because they fit really, really well like that. And I have 2 drawers, so I'm going to do the rainbow thing. And that's, I mean, as my collection grows, obviously that won't be enough. But this is just going to be for the floss I have still in store made or manufacturer skeins. The ones that I am using, I have a cable system I'm going to set up, and they will be hanging and that kind of thing. So I got that. All right, look, empty basket. I wish that was it, but it's not. All right. I have one last share and then one last haul goodies, but well, let's do the rest of the haul goodies. The other thing that I have is that I picked up a bunch of material that to use on all these patterns I've been printing out. So these are 18 count because I don't know, I apparently feel like I can do 18 count even though I haven't. I was looking for I can do 14 really, really easily. I was looking for a 16. Neither Joann's or Michael's carried it, and I didn't go to Hobby Lobby. I don't shop at Hobby Lobby unless I'm kind of forced to, for moral reasons. But so I don't know what they carry, and they may carry a 16. But so I got these two. This one's great big. I figured I'm just gonna cut them apart, and these two, all of these are 18 count. These 3 are 18 count. And they're a white, and I'm going to try to dye some of the white. But a lot of the ones that I got that I showed the bright colors on, they're going to look really pretty on the white too. So this is called Fiddler's Cloth. I don't know what that means. I didn't read the back either. I just bought it because I didn't have it, so I bought it. But these are just called cross-stitch fabric, and this is called Fiddler's Cloth. So if you know what that means, I don't know what that means. So if you could tell me what that means, I would love to hear that. I also, look at me go, saw this. It's Even Weave Lugana 28 count, and I thought in the tea-dyed color, and I thought I can do it. I don't know if I can or not, but I'm gonna try it. And then I got this Carolina linen This is like at Walmart and stuff. I don't think I have this color. I think the one at Walmart's a different color. But anyways, it's just a 14 count Aida in the natural colors. I just tried to get some neutrals so that I could just do some of these stitches on. So that is, I have to throw it on the floor because I've run out of table space. Sorry. Ghetto videoing at its finest. All right, last thing is my cross-stitch journal notebook. And if you've been here before, you know I'm embroidering a cover to go on it, but it's going to be a while before I get that done. I have to get on a schedule because I see why people do all of these schedule things, because otherwise you have so many things going on, you sit and you don't do any of it because it's like chaos. And so I'm going to get myself scheduled, and then next week I'll show you what my schedule turned into. But I started a notebook. People are using like calendars, there's fancy cross-stitch books and stuff, but I'm not there yet for like keeping track of all of that kind of stuff. I just kind of want to keep track of what I've stitched over time. So I covered, and I'll put a video in the eye above and down below, that I did covering one of the Traveler's Notebook journals that go, and this is a Webster's Pages Traveler's Notebook cover. I will say that this has been in a cabinet and it is not aging well. It is the most hideously yellowish green color now. It hasn't even been in the light, and it's turning this weird color. So I'm really disappointed in that. I may paint it and see if I could, I don't know. On the camera it looks pretty good, but in person it's really yellow. But anyways, I have been using that. I'm going to fill that up. I have a purple one I'm going to dig out because I like it better. But anyways, I covered it with some Simple Storage Cottage Fields paper, added the Believe in Yourself and You Will Be Unstoppable, because that's what I'm trying to do with this cross-stitch adventure. And, you know, be you, do you, for you. That's very much my motto, because we each are so different, and there's just no judgmentalness in me. I don't put a lot of care into your differences. If you like paper, great. If you like stitching, great. If you don't like either of them, I don't know why you'd be here. So, you know, we all need to learn to tolerate each other, and nobody is above being nice. So that's what I put on the inside. And then I've just been kind of keeping a record of the stitching that I have been doing with photos, and I won't probably do this for all of them, but these little ones fit. And then if maybe some of them I'll keep the threads. These were Amazon threads. They don't have numbers, so I couldn't keep the numbers. But if I have DMC Floss numbers, I just probably write that down. This was my first embroidery project. Some more of that cross stitch that I was working on. That was my first counted cross stitch. I didn't add threads to this because they're before. This is the embroidery journal cover I'm working on to cover this with, and the flosses that I'm using for that. And I've just finished this part of the pattern, so now I need to do the bottom. And then I finished up the whole pattern, and I've just been jotting notes. It's not really professional or anything, but I like how it turning out. And so I will just, like, when I finish the garden one, I'll take and photocopy it to a smaller size, the pattern, not the pattern because there's no pattern to it, but the pictures that I have, and I'll put it here in the information about it, when I stitched it, and that kind of stuff, and so on and so forth. And so that's how I've been keeping track, and I've just been keeping it in here. I also have been keeping like my labels and stuff for like the Q snaps and any of that paperwork that comes with things I buy, so that I remember what it was or how to use it, things like that. And so that's what I'm working on. But I got to dig out my purple cover because this one is turning just a hideous yellow green. I don't know why it's turning like that. Maybe that's why it was cheap when I bought it. So that's that. All right, you guys, here's something pretty to look at. That is it. That is my First floss tube, I know it needs to, is there like a questionnaire? I noticed some of the newer floss tubers have been following a questionnaire, but I can't seem to find the actual questions. So I don't know if they're making up the questions themselves or if they have a list that they're going by. I'm sure there's rules and I'm going to break them all. So if you're into strict followance of guidance practices, that's probably, my channel's probably not going to be for you. I do all kinds of stuff here. I talk about all kinds of stuff. I do a fauxbonichi journal that is my daily journal of life going on. I am whole food plant-based. My whole family is. We've had huge health changes in the last 5 years, and so there's a lot of that. I'm an avid gardener, and indoor garden. I have over 150 square feet inside my house growing vegetables right now. And then outside I have a half an acre of land in town that we garden. And so there's that. I have cats, I have a son, I have a husband. We live in Montana. That's the basics. But if there's a list, I would love to do it. I plan on eventually doing these face-to-face like the rest of them do it. But today didn't happen because I was supposed to do this video yesterday, and that didn't happen. And then it's the weekend, and it won't happen on the weekend. It just won't happen. So I will eventually get these like normal floss tubers, and you'll be able to see my bright and shining old gray hair face. I watch Off-Grid Stitcher. Oh shoot, what is her name? Caroline is her name, and she's been talking about her hair lately, and I just laughed because I, for years and years and years, thought I was the only one with this hair, curly hair, and her hair looks just like mine, only she has these beautiful gray and white and black stripes, and mine is like mud mouse gray. It's just, but she has made me want to embrace it and be all right with it. But for the most part, I keep it up in a ponytail, and yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But if there's a list or something, an intro list or something, let me know. My setup is mostly overhead because most of the videos that I do are overhead while I'm working on something, and so that it is. But I have bought stuff to hook my phone up to my TV so that I can see what I'm doing, because I can't just do blind videos. I just can't. What if I did this hour-long video and the record went off or something? I'd have a stroke right there. And I have a 2-year-old attention span, so once I would be like, oh well, I'm not doing that video. But I'm going to let you guys go because I've been yammering on for about an hour now. But if you're new here, I really appreciate you showing up. I hope you'll stick around. I will do really the best that I can about labeling these. So if you are not interested in the other videos that I do, that is totally fine. I am fine with that. I won't ask you to subscribe, but I would love it if you subscribe. Mostly because that's just fun to know you're here. Leave a comment if you like. Likes are always welcome. Dislikes are always not welcome. But you know, they kind of come with the territory because people feel the need to be, comments, questions, suggestions, any of that kind of stuff goes down in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next video, which will probably be a fauxbonichi journal. These will probably be once a week, these Flosstube videos. So probably Friday, Saturday, somewhere in there. But my fauxbonichi journals and everything else will come in between. And follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I would love to hook up with you guys there. I share all the in-between Stitchy stuff on those 2 platforms. So I will see you in the next video. You guys, have fun. Thank you for being here. I feel like a little kid who found a new project at Christmas time. I feel like a dork, and I'm totally okay with it. You guys have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.